So you've probably heard of this popular book called Atomic Habits, which basically teaches why sticking to a new habit really isn't about the motivation or this like battle of willpower. I personally read it and actually applied the lessons and instantly saw a difference when it comes to my habits like reading, training, and recording content like this for you. And so in this video, I just want to give you the shortcut, bro, and kind of condense the most powerful lessons that the book taught me. And more importantly, a 4-step framework that you can use to literally make any habit stick from today. And in case it's your first time to this channel, my name is Marvin. For the last 8 years, I've used self-development to advance my sales career and just improve how I show up in my day-to-day life. Okay, and before we get into the framework, bro, I just want to break down some of the most important lessons in the book, like I said. And so one actually being that the deepest levels of change actually come when we root them to our identity. And that's what you want to do, but for whatever habit you apply this to. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Some easy cliches is a lot of people at the start of the year, they want to change their health, but usually it'll be tied to maybe a holiday that's coming up, or trying to get a new partner, so you want to look your best self, or maybe you're just really tired of the way that you've been training, you feel a bit stiff and you want to see a change in the process, so you now want to change to become more of a CrossFit Hyrox trainer, whatever it might be. These are all kind of external reasons for where the motivation is coming from, and usually some sort of deadline or the event will come and your motivation's gone. Easy example, the holiday comes around, you had some nice holiday pics, you come back, okay, that was sort of the only reason I trained for the last 6 months, back to my old habits. Whereas if you tie this to your identity, for example, saying to yourself, no, I am someone that just trains hard, full stop. Or, I am genuinely, I see myself as an athlete. I see myself as a hard worker, someone that's dedicated to training and my health. And that's just what I do. There is no end goal in that. You literally can't complete that game. Like, you can always improve, maintain your health, maintain your physique, whatever it might be. You view yourself as someone that doesn't quit, that is a hard trainer, a hard-working athlete. And yeah, you do this for life, basically. It's literally part of your identity. Another example, to just make this quick, if you're trying to quit smoking or something else, it's much more powerful to say, I am not a smoker, compared to, oh no, sorry, I don't need a cigarette, I'm quitting. Oh, I'm quitting sounds like you're in the process of something. You're in the phase of quitting, and there's a start and a finish to it, opposed to just full stop. Oh no, I don't smoke, I'm not a smoker. Indefinite, just part of who you are. And so this is really what you want to do when it comes to your habits. Another really powerful lesson in all of this is that you probably have a bunch of habits that you want to start. Let's be honest, it's probably not just training. Like I said, for me, it was reading, creating content, going to, training more consistently. And so it's always important to remember that you're not going to be this absolute robot of perfection. It's all about every single habit that you complete being a vote towards the person that you want to become. And as we know, for any election, it's the majority vote that wins. And so that's literally how you want to see your habits. Like, as long as, let's call it the 80-20 rule, as long as 80% of your habits are building you into the person that you want to become, that's an accomplishment, for yourself. And so that's really, I think that kind of takes the pressure off having these absolute perfect days where day in, day out, you need to cross off your to-do list. Like, it's okay. Like, there's always inevitable circumstances, but if majority of your votes, majority of your habits are building towards the person, that's really the sweet spot of where you want to be at. With that being said, let's actually get into the framework. Okay, so rule number 1, make it obvious. Really nice and easy. Visual cues are actually the biggest trigger for habit behavior, basically. Out of all the triggers, like an audio, visual, touch, smell, whatever it is, visual is the most powerful. And so you just want to basically put a blatant visual reminder somewhere in your day for you to carry out this habit. If you need to remember yourself, you've already kind of lost the game. And so really easy examples of this would be, if you're training, it sounds silly, but putting your gym clothes, your gym outfit, somewhere where you can't miss it. Like, it could literally be in front of your door. Leaving a book on your pillow or on the sofa for after work. So again, When you finish the day and you go into bed, reading 10 pages becomes much easier when you literally have it sat there on your pillow, or after work having it sat there on the sofa. If you're supposed to, I don't know, get healthier when it comes to supplements, leave them out in an obvious, don't have them hidden in the cupboard, put them on the counter so you visually remember. It's all about just making it as visible as possible. Number 2 is make it attractive. And that's just basically all about the association that your brain has with that behavior. And if it's something that you don't enjoy, pairing it with something that you do genuinely like, or if you can't do that, just making it more attractive by highlighting the benefits. So for example, you might have the habit of wanting to go for a 30-minute walk every day. And so you might just hate walking, but you might really enjoy certain podcasts or like audiobooks. And so what you can easily do is tell yourself, only on my 30-minute walks do I get to listen to those podcasts or that audiobook that I really enjoy. You're now making the walk much more attractive because you know you get to listen to that show or to that book that you enjoy. Very easy example. Or another way that you can do it is if it comes to, again, training or reading, listing to yourself all the benefits that you'll get from completing this habit. And again, mixing that with the identity of, oh, I'm now a reader and this is all the benefits that I'm going to get from being a reader. That's actually pretty cool. And so it makes it easier to want to get into that. Again, this is obviously the starting block. You will have to reframe that for yourself and sort of train that thought process. But that's basically what you want to do. Like, our brain just is gravitated towards what it finds attractive, whether it's good or bad. And so you want to make the good habit as pleasing as possible. Number 3, and this might actually be the most important one, but just make it easy. So many times I was guilty of like giving myself this absolute hardcore, cold turkey crash course of starting my habits and expecting this perfect day for myself. And I can speak for myself now. You need to make the bar for entry just as low as possible if the consistency is really what you're struggling with, bro. And so it sounds basic, but when it came to reading, I told myself, right, that's it, 30 minutes of reading every single day from now on. And it actually, why even 30 minutes? I should read an hour a day. Just start with a page a day. And that sounds so basic, In the book, he actually gives, it sounds even more silly. In the book, he advises that if you're trying to start the habit of going to the gym, that you literally walk into the gym for 2 minutes and walk out. Like, literally pointless. Like, the 2-minute rule is what he actually teaches in the book. Any habit that you're starting, spend 2 minutes on it. And the reason is that you're not actually trying to look for any outcome of the habit when you start. What you're actually building is the skill of being someone that doesn't miss the day. Like, the skill of consistency is what you're building right now. And so 2 minutes is literally enough for you to, on a day where you would have just not gone at all, to take yourself to the gym that is actually where the juice is, what the gold is. And so that's what you're building. And yeah, highly recommend. Just lower the bar for entry and teach yourself that right now all you're learning is to be someone that doesn't skip the day. Make it easy, take the pressure off, and naturally it'll build. There'll be a day where you're reading one page and you're like, well, look, this really wasn't difficult. I'm going to read 5 today. And then you start reading 5, you're like, okay, cool, look, I'm going to start reading 10 pages a day. I'm obviously not going to just spend 2 minutes in the gym. I'm here now. Let me do a half an hour cardio session, and so on. It's self-explanatory, but an easy bar for entry is what you need. Now, if you've applied all these 3, this is where rule 4 really has to come into play. We're just making it rewarding. Our brain will just only repeat the behavior that is rewarding, full stop. Well, rewarding or punishing, but that's a different topic. So for making it rewarding, especially in the early days when you're building the muscle for it, you need some sort of signal that what you're doing is giving you progress. This is literally the cliche example of someone going to the gym twice, running home to the mirror, tensing, seeing nothing, and being like, oh, this shit doesn't work. Come on, man. So, in those days, it might be having something like a habit tracker. I literally, and don't underestimate the power of just having a nice little tick box that just visually shows yourself that you've not broken the streak yet and wanting to keep it going. It might be, what I do, for example, is I have habits that I need to complete for the week, and I treat myself with a day of doing nothing if I've completed that. Just a genuine, and I look forward to it. I anticipate it throughout the week. Like, okay, cool, get this done. And I know I'm going to get to just do nothing and have a lazy day. That makes it rewarding for me. When it comes to saving, let's say you've got the habit of saving money, tell yourself or start looking at ideas for what you're going to get to spend the money on that you're saving. You can get creative with it. Again, it depends on what habit you're building, but especially in the early days when you're building the muscle, you need to have a cue that tells your brain a reward is coming out of this. Otherwise, why am I struggling against this habit for nothing, basically? And so to close us out, bro, if I was to give you one advice, it's that if you're trying to overhaul your life and just start a bunch of habits at once, just pick one, pick the most important habit, apply this formula, and then once you've built the rhythm of consistency, add another one to it. You're eventually gonna miss a day, and that's okay, as long as you don't do 2 in a row. The book explains that a day off can happen, life throws something at you. If you're doing 2 days off in a row, you're starting to build a new habit. Just appreciate that at the beginning, it will feel like you're fighting against yourself, but your brain will literally day by day take the evidence of these new behaviors to then change your identity. If you feel like you're just not an athlete, you're just not someone that trains. If you've never done it, of course that your brain is not going to think that. But with every gym session, you're slowly rewriting the code and telling your brain, no, actually, this is part of my identity now. This is who I am. Okay, and that's all the advice that I had, bro. But what you might actually be struggling with is breaking a bad habit. And so somewhere on this screen, it's my first time recording an outro like this, I'll link a video to a guide on how to break a bad habit, which should help you out. As always, God bless.